We're going in. Title of the chapter: Saint J. Garcia Saturn of the Five Elders, the Defense Science Warrior God. That's the Gorosei that's on Egghead Island with the Straw Hats and stuff. Let's jump right in. I've heard good things. I've heard this chapter is huge. We'll say. I've heard it's a really good chapter. So. Right off rip, before the chapter even starts, we have a cover page for Weekly Shonen Jump of Luffy and Kizaru. Yeah, let's jump right in. End of last chapter, Lucci and Zoro are fighting, Kizaru and Luffy are fighting, and the Gorosei, J. Garcia Saturn, is on the island getting ready to do something, I guess. Sorry, there was someone outside. And we have a color spread as well of all of the Ryuma, Ushimaru, Zoro, Kyoshiro, Kuina. Yeah, it's all the members of the Shimotsuki clan, like Zoro's clan that we found out in an SBS. So yeah, I guess I think there's like an anime adaptation of Monsters being made. Monsters is the manga that it's like the one-shot manga that Oda made before One Piece, that Ryuma is from, like the where Ryuma kills the dragon. So I guess in celebration of that we have a thing, a color spread, even cover spread, no, color spread. But yeah, so jumping right in now. So at the end of the last chapter, Vegapunk, I can't remember what her name is, but the really tall one with the jetpack on her back and the blue and white, or the black and white hair either side, gave the Pacifista a new order, which was to eradicate every last Marine on the island. And since Vegapunks are the second tier of chain of command behind the Gorosei themselves, it overrode Kizaru having the control chip. So we're going to see the fallout of that now, I guess. We're in the Labostratum. No, not the Labostratum. The Somnostratum, the below one, the city one, and it says an order from Vegapunk, this is bad, and we're seeing all the Marines kind of panicking, and we're seeing the Pacifistas starting to get it, and they're starting to turn on the Marines and blow them all away. And the Marines are yelling, "Get away from the Pacifista!" Obviously, because let's face it, I'd say the Pacifista. I'm assuming these Pacifistas would be more powerful than the ones we saw pre-time skip, just the basic ones. I assume since they're on Vegapunk's island, he's probably buffed them up a bit more. But I'd say those ones are probably Rear Admiral level anyway, you know, like just below Vice Admiral. So yeah, like your average Marine is not going to stand a chance against them, you know? So we see Marines hiding, we see Pacifistas blowing them up with their Kizaru beams. They're all panicking, they can't do anything. And the Marines are kind of like, wait, does this mean Vegapunk's left the dome? And then they're like realizing, they're like, oh, he's over there. The tank that they're in is falling from the sky. And Stella is saying to Atlas, so Atlas is the one that gave the order. Stella is saying to Atlas, quick, we have to find Bonnie. And Atlas is just on top of the tank screaming Bonnie. And Sanji is there as well shouting Bonnie. And Frankie's like, how the heck are we meant to drive straight down? Won't we just end up falling? And Vegapunk says the Vega tires on either side of us are made of the same kind of sky cloud as the road. It has a peculiar property which makes it stick to itself. We won't be falling anywhere. So he's basically made a flying car. Oh no, sorry, it's still on the cloud road. Okay, so as long as there's a cloud underneath them, they won't fall. Okay, I get it. And Sanji spotted Bonnie and he yells, "Found her!" And then Frankie's like, "Oh, for real?" And Sanji just responds, "When has my lady radar ever been wrong?" in like a rage at Frankie. Which is yeah, true. But Vegapunk's just kind of like, that doesn't sound very scientific, but I'll have some bit of faith in you. And fuck's sake. So Sanji just jumps out of the tank and he's like, "I appreciate it, but this tank is too slow for my burning heart. I'll be back." Sanji, no, what are you doing? Fuck's sake. Yeah, Sanji being Sanji, you know, like, what else would you expect? So we're with Bonnie now. She's fighting a that's one of the vice admirals. The vice admiral is like looking for her. He's like, "Where did that scamp get to?" And she's like, "Good, it sounds like the pacifista are back on our side." So she kind of jumps back. She was hiding behind a wall, but the vice admiral broke through the wall. She whips out a gun. Yeah, that's a gun. Huh. So Bonnie uses guns. Interesting. And they spot her. They're like, "There she is." And she does a flip and shoots. She shoots 3 Marines at once with an attack called NDE, which is a translator's note, short for near-death experience. Yo. So she shoots them with this attack called NDE, which is obviously an extension of her devil fruit. So we see a Marine, one of the ones that she shot, and he's like holding his head, and he's like, and then all of a sudden he's just a skeleton. He's just a skeleton, and then he's back to being human again. And he's just like, what? And then he collapses. So I guess what that attack does is that when someone gets hit by it, they like see their death for a moment, and like the trauma of seeing their death causes them to pass out. I imagine if that's the case, it can only be used on like fodder enemy, like enemies that wouldn't have very powerful hockey, because like if their willpower is strong, obviously they're not going to be like broken just by a vision of their death, you know. That's some metal attack though. Yeah, they're all the 3 she hit with it are like collapsed on the ground, like hands on their heads, eyes white, mouths foaming. Like that's some attack. And the vice admiral is just like, "Hey, what's gotten into you guys?" And one of them just says, "I saw the river Styx." So the river Styx is the river in Egyptian mythology where you pass it to go into the afterlife. Or no, sorry, Greek mythology. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Duat. The Styx is the Greek equivalent, where if you get splashed by any of the water, you forget all of your memories. But yeah, so Bonnie just runs away. The vice admiral stops to be like, "What's going on?" And one of the Marines is just like, "Stop!" And okay, so there's one of the pacifistas is after resisting the order, I guess, and it's blocking Bonnie, and it's like, "I won't let you pass." And she's kind of like, "What? But how is?" Okay. So there's a vice admiral riding on the pacifista. Navy HQ Vice Admiral Bluegrass, who's like an old woman. I guess she's doing something to stop it from following the orders. So she says, "Don't panic, dearie. It's only this one unit that hasn't been affected by the new orders. I made it my personal ride. I'm a driver woman who can hijack anything thanks to the ride fruit." Okay, so she has some kind of devil fruit that allows her to like control. It says anything, but like surely not anything. Surely like only things that don't have like a mind or something, I guess, would be the limitation of that fruit. And she says, I take it offing you will lift the age curse on my ickle subordinates. Okay. I got a bit. Yeah. So the pacifista goes to fire on Bonnie. And Bonnie is just kind of resigned because obviously Bonnie is Kuma's daughter, and she seems to not be able to, resist Kuma's image, even if it is just pacifistas. So she's kind of just like standing there as it's charging up its mouth beam, and she's like, "Daddy." And the vice admiral says, "Give them back their lost years," as the pacifista shoots, and it looks like Sanji at the last second arrives to pull her out of the way, screaming "leap" as he does it. Yeah, it's Sanji. Okay. As expected, Sanji, and he says, "Bonnie-chan, you can't let yourself freeze up like that." And she's like, "Blackleg?" She's like, "What? What are you doing?" And Sanji says, "They told me about Kuma being your dad. I get it, but you've got to keep a cool head." And the other vice admiral, the guy that stopped to look after the three she hit with the NDE attack, starts going to attack them. He looks similar enough to Judge, at least in this picture. Oh no, he's got a devil fruit. He's got his own. I was confused. He's got some kind of his own attack, and he hits them. He has like it's like a bat, but it looks like a cartoon like sweeping brush, and he uses an attack called Whack an Otter on where Sanji and Bonnie had landed, and completely obliterates the ground. And Sanji's just running away with Bonnie in hand, saying, "For now, let's just get out of here." And okay, the Vegapunks arrive. So Vegapunk's like, "Oh, Bonnie, Sanji, hop in." And so yeah, they're saying, "Let's head back. The pacifista are already on our side again. We don't have any business left down here." So they're going to head back up to the Labostratum where the Thousand Sunny and the rest of the Straw Hats are. Interesting enough. Will it play out that way though? Because Kizaru is up there still fighting Luffy, and Lucci is fighting Zoro. So could Kizaru by any chance do something to obstruct them from getting back up or something? So we cut back up to the Labostratum now, and we're cutting back to Luffy and Kizaru fighting. Luffy is just... His arms and legs are basically just tentacles by the looks of it. And he's just rapid attacking Kizaru. And okay, so Kizaru says, "I'm afraid I've got a job to do and I can't finish it if we keep playing around," but he's panting, so obviously Luffy is pushing him to his limit. Like as much as Kizaru is a very laid back person, he's obviously being pushed, but he's also, made of light. So what he does is Luffy says, "Oh, that's the idea. I'm doing my job." And Kizaru just flashes away. He uses his light speed to just warp away. And He says, well, this is a problem. And Luffy's running after him with like his legs spinning and like the trail of flames behind him. He's like, hey, get back here. He's going ham and he's like, hey. And so yeah, obviously Luffy's not like, if Kizaru wants to just run away, Kizaru will just run away. Like he's made of light. I don't think like Luffy is fast, but he's not Kizaru fast, you know? Okay. Excuse me. So we get a quad panel, I guess. We get Kizaru and Luffy and Zoro and Lucci's faces. They're all like kind of looking like what the hell. And Zoro even says what the, and Kizaru says yeah. Okay, we get even more. So Jinbei's also sensing it, and he's like, what is this ominous presence? Okay. Is this the Gorosei? Is this Jay Garcia Saturn by any chance? The name of the chapter. We get Usopp, Nami, Chopper, and they have like a bed, like a medical bed, but I can't tell who's on it. Nose. Oh, I think it's Stussy. I think it's Stussy. Because she got a finger pistol by Lucci, so it would be Stussy. And is that Doll? I didn't realize Doll was on the island. The sword member. And she says, "Don't tell me," or no, she's with someone else, and they say, "Don't tell me." Then we see just a silhouette for a panel, and it just says "Pacifista units cease all action immediately." Oh yeah, this is the Gorosei. We're finally getting the Gorosei in action. Oh man. Oh yes, man. So obviously we got the hint that the Gorosei are more than meets the eye. We obviously we got that with the Sabo panel, you know, with when he was in the room with the empty throne, and we saw him with the five silhouettes of the Gorosei in their Zoan forms. And obviously they're the Gorosei. They more than likely have mythological zones. So we're about to see, I hope. Please give us some sauce. So the Vegapunks are in the Vega tank driving past all the Pacifista, and they make note, obviously. They're like, oh, how strange, the Pacifista aren't trying to protect us anymore. And Atlas is just like, hey, did you forget your orders? And okay, they're getting the realization now. Because she says, but the only people with higher authority clearance than us are the five elders. Okay. So, the next panel, we see a couple of Marines standing around, and a pentagram, a magic circle with a pentagram inside of it, just materializes on the ground, and there's black lightning, which usually indicates Conqueror's Haki coming off of it. And they're all kind of like, whoa. And some of the Marines are just like, what the hell's going on? And they're like, a magic circle? And the Vega tank is going up the cloud road again. And they're like, this is most peculiar. We must hurry. Something is coming. Oh, yeah. Okay. We get the announcement over the intercom. All Marines on the island, be advised. Saint Saturn of the Five Elders is about to make landfall on Egghead. Oh my god. We're getting it. We're getting it. Oh man. Yes. So we see Marines talking. They're like, one of the Five Elders is here? And we get a Oh my god, I don't even know how to describe this. So the Vega tank is going up the Cloud Road, and it's like curving around where the magic circle was on the ground, but obviously above it, and there's just fire coming up. It's just like a massive fire coming up. And we hear over the intercom, any Marine below the rank of Commodore is hereby ordered to avert their gaze. Transgressors will not be forgiven. So as we know, the celestial dragons in general like don't like when people look at them. That was like a thing back in Sabaody when Zoro nearly killed the celestial dragon, and Bonnie like knocked him out of the way. At that point it was like made note of that you shouldn't even look at the celestial dragons, let alone like approach them. So obviously the Gorosei are like the big dogs of the celestial dragons. So like Commodore is the rank below Rear Admiral, I believe. So I believe it goes Commodore, Rear Admiral, Vice Admiral, Admiral, and then Fleet Admiral. So anyone below the rank of Commodore is forbidden from even looking in his direction. And so yeah, that massive explosion happens, and they're kind of like, what was that explosion? That announcement mentioned the 5 elders. One of them actually came all the way here, and someone's like, 5 elders? Okay, that's Frankie saying 5 elders. And Vegapunk says they're the most powerful authority figures in the world, and Frankie's kind of freaking out. He's like, what? And Vegapunk's like, it doesn't matter, we're getting out of here, hang on. Okay, so we see the magic circle again, and there's like a figure rising out of it, like coming out of the ground, and Sanji's just like, that circle, something's coming out of it. And we see some Marines. They're obviously below the rank of Commodore. They're just basic sailors, and one of them's like, what the hell is that? Is he some kind of monster? And a different sailor behind him says, quiet, we're not meant to see, he might just... Then we see Jay Garcia Saturn's like a bit of his face, and his eye just, it's like pure white. Oh my, what? So his eye, it's just like a flash. And then the Marine that was like, oh, what the hell is that? His head is gone. His head just explodes. And the Marine that was next to him is just like, ah! Oh my god. So he just looked at him. In looking at that Marine, he just blew his head up. Oh my god. And we get a full body picture. So Jay Garcia Saturn obviously had a massive beard. It's got like a beard, and then like the awakening mane, like the cloud mane that Zoans have, going around his shoulders, behind his beard and his hair. And he's got horns, and the lower half of his body is that of a spider, but with flames on his legs. Okay, so there's like a lot of equivalent fruits in One Piece, like the kilo to the ton. I think that this fruit is the mythological equivalent to Black Maria's fruit, just the vibe I'm getting right now. And he says, I almost can't remember the last time I came to the surface. And we see his title card. Highest authority of the world government, 5 elder planets, defense science warrior god, Saint J. Garcia Saturn. Oh my god. It's actually happening. We're actually seeing a Gorosei in action. And he's living up to the hype, man. Blowing up someone's head just by looking at them. and like he has black lightning coming off of him, so yeah, like it's a safe assumption that all of the Gorosei and Eam probably, well, not probably, they all have Conqueror's Haki. Like that's a given. Like he has a load of black lightning coming off of him. That magic circle had black lightning coming off of it, as well as the fire. So I'm guessing he's using like I'm guessing he was able to blow up the Marine's head. So, like, obviously, Advanced Conquerors is generally being shown to be used as like a striking tool for Luffy to be able to like punch someone without making physical contact, and it like amps up your damage and stuff. But obviously, the first use of Conquerors that we knew about for the first like 1,000 chapters of the manga, well, more like 1,013, we'll say, chapters of the manga, was that like if it was used to exert, if it was exerted on people or like animals with lower willpowers than you, then they'd be like knocked out. I'm guessing that this is like an extension of that, that if you were like, it's like an advanced, it's like how with advanced observation there's like different forms. So like Luffy is able to see the future because of his advanced observation haki, whereas Sanji is able to like read people's intentions through like their emotions through advanced observation haki. And then Usopp is another example. I don't know if that would be considered advanced observation haki, but he was able to snipe sugar across an entire island because of it. But yeah, so I'm guessing this is like an alternate form of Advanced Conqueror's Haki, where if you like exert your willpower with like advanced characteristics, but like focused enough, you can just blow someone's head up or like kill people in an instant just with a look. That's what I imagine this is, that it's like a super focused form of Advanced Conqueror's Haki. It could also be a function of his devil fruit, but I'm going with the idea of it being Conqueror's Haki focused down to a point. And so yeah, we see Bonnie looking back and she's like, what is that thing? And Sanji's like, up top, look out. And we see the Vega tank with a, oh god, so they got knocked off of the cloud bridge by a laser beam. And they say he's going for the clouds. Who else but Kizaru? Yeah, it's Kizaru. And he says, oopsie, almost had you there. And then we see Luffy chasing behind him. He's like, meow. And he... God. So Luffy goes Popeye, you know, he pumps up his arm and just like gets it bigger. And he's like, hold it, Kizaru. Kizaru just looks back and he's like, geez, haven't you reached your limit with that form yet? He's just kind of done with it. He's like, are you serious right now? And Frankie's just like, we're counting on you, Luffy. And Luffy just says, leave it to me. Blah. Kizaru just hits him with the laser beam and he's like, ah. And he gets spun around. Okay, so Luffy... So, like, as far as I can tell with Gear 5, Luffy is basically impervious if he actually thinks about it. Like, as long as he's actively thinking about not taking damage, he won't take damage. Like, he nearly got hit by lightning in Wano. He grabbed the lightning and turned it into his own weapon. Kaido hit him in the face with his bat. His face molded around the bat. This time, Kizaru hits him with a laser beam. It just makes him spin. So I'm really thinking, Luffy, as long as he's anticipating an attack, he can basically be impervious to that attack. So he's spinning, he's still got his arm buffed up and he's spinning really quickly and he's just like, ah! He's like, gum gum, and Kizaru's like, what? And Luffy just says, white star gun. Oh my god. So the way that in Wano, when Luffy that one time punched Kaido and Kaido's face, like the center of his face like went back with his fist, but like the outside of his face stayed there. Same thing happens to Kizaru this time. There's a star comes off of him and he just he de-impacts him, and it's Conqueror's Haki as well, because there's black lightning coming off of Luffy's arm. So Luffy just hit Kizaru with an advanced Conqueror's Gear 5th punch to the face. This will be the real test now. I'm interested to see, like, because there's a lot of talk obviously about the scaling of the admirals. Be interested to see now what kind of an effect this has. Okay. So Kizaru's we see like Kizaru's inner dialogue, and he's like, this isn't good. Yeah. So he has like one of those like cartoon, spinning around his head of stars. So like when Bugs Bunny gets hit on the head, and he has like the rabbits and the stars going around. Kizaru has one of them, but it's just stars. And we see Luffy is in his old man form, which means he's basically gassed at this point, and he's like, now I'm really at my limit. And someone calls to him. He's like, Luffy-kun. I don't know which of them it is. We cut back to Jay Garcia Saturn, and he's just like Nika, which is obviously Luffy's fruit. Gear 5th is, Nika. So we see Jay Garcia Saturn's just looking up as Luffy is crashed to the ground directly in front of him. By the looks of it anyway, he's directly in front of him. Oh no, it's not just Luffy. So Luffy and the Vegapunks and Sanji and Frankie all crash to the ground directly in front of Jay Garcia Saturn. This is going to be interesting. Oh man. I think we're getting to the end of this chapter, unless if it's like a double chapter. So we see Luffy laid out on the ground. We see buildings collapsing, and the Vega tank is busted. Both Vegapunks, Frankie and Sanji and Bonnie are all thrown out of it. Oh shit. Oh shit. So we get a double spread panel. Frankie is checking on Stella. He's like, are you okay, Vegapunk? Sanji is holding Bonnie, and he says, Atlas-chan, you're not hurt, right? And Atlas says, I'm fine. And standing over them, towering over them, Jesus, he's huge. Frankie is like up. Okay, this is gonna be hard to explain. So towering over them is Saint J. Garcia Saturn, and when I say towering, I mean towering. So do you know the way spiders on their legs, it'll be like that, and then there'll be the like nail coming off of the bottom. Sanji isn't even the size of one of the nails coming off of the bottom of Jay Garcia's foot. Frankie is knelt over, but by the looks of it, he wouldn't be even up to like the bottom of Saint J. Garcia's body. Like, he's giant. He is huge. And Stella just looks on and says, Saint Saturn, I assume. And Saturn says back, in the flesh, I see you have managed to cling onto life, Vegapunk. And we cut to okay, it's Bonnie looking, and we see like text bubbles of Saturn continuing to talk. He's saying, I've given the order, Vegapunk. And Bonnie springs into action. She grabs a sword off the ground, and Sanji's like, Bonnie-chan. And she picks up the sword, and she's like, oh, no, okay. So this is Bonnie hearing someone else talking, saying, I've given the order, Vegapunk. Okay. So Bonnie is having like a flashback of something she heard said about Kuma. So she springs into action. I'm guessing it was Saturn giving the order, but that Vegapunk had never actually seen him in person. but the order is erase his individuality completely, make sure no trace of him remains. And Vegapunk's like, but if we do that, Kuma, and Bonnie stabs St. J. Garcia Saturn in the chest. Oh shit. So there's blood pouring out of his chest. Like he's not like Kaido where he has like unlimited durability, you know. Bonnie stabs him in the chest with the sword and blood starts coming out. And we see a panel, it's like someone called Saint Saturn, and we see like his eye like silhouetted nearly, and he's kind of like, what the fuck, he's kind of like glaring, you know. And we see Bonnie crying. Damn, that's how the chapter ends. Fucking hell. Oh man. Oh man. I guess. So how does it stack up? Like, I'm really interested to see how this stacks up now. So like, Luffy is fighting Kizaru. Zoro is fighting Lucci. Who's gonna fight Saturn? Like, it's not gonna be Sanji. Sanji's strong, like, but I can't see Saturn being weaker than Kizaru and Lucci, you know? Are we gonna get a team up fight where like everyone is fighting Saturn? Because like the last time we had one of them, it was Oars in Thriller Bark. Last time we had one of them where it was an actual fight and not just a beating by the other person. It was Oars in Thriller Bark. I'm excited. Could Kizaru get put out of action? I'm not saying through a killing or anything, but could he just be put out of action somehow? And Lucci will be defeated by Zoro, obviously, and will that put it in the position where all of the Straw Hats go up against J. Garcia Saturn together? Oh man, that could be so fucking good. And obviously the Blackbeard pirates are arriving. We saw a Blackbeard ship. Could the Grand Fleet arrive? Could the Grand Fleet arrive? Who knows? Oh my god, this is... Is there a break next week? I hope there is no break next week. I don't think I can do a break after this. Oh my god. Holy shit. 10 out of 10 chapter anyway. That was so... This is such a good chapter. Oh man. How does he do it? How does Oda drop just such good chapters back to back to back? It's just all bangers recently. Like, I'd say since the raid on Onigashima started, it's just been banger nearly back to back. I'd say there's been maybe like 2 misses in that entire time, and they're not even misses, they're just misses compared to what's been surrounding them. But like, oh my god, this is such a good chapter. We're eating so good, man. Woo! Sheesh! Oh man. Oh fuck. Anyway, comment below what your thoughts are on it. Say hello to Henry, and Khaled while you're at it. Oh man, consider dropping a like. Consider subscribing if you want more. I'll see you next time. Peace.